Appreciate it, Kent. Appreciate everyone being here. Really excited to get SEC started tomorrow afternoon at 3:30. Was pleased with the finish to the non-conference. Thought our guys played with great unselfishness, and I loved seeing guys. We were first to the floor for loose basketballs, 26 assists in the final game here before the real deal begins tomorrow. And I think we've had a good week of practice as we've entered the new year, and a lot of respect for Coach Byington. He's always done a terrific job, and I think they did a great job with their roster construction, and a really good basketball team. So it'll be a great challenge and great opportunity tomorrow afternoon at 3:30.
For the game against Vandy, what are the points of emphasis that your team needs to hit on to get a W?
Well, I think their Vanderbilt is good in all three phases. If you want to put some points of emphasis out there, their turnover margin is phenomenal. Best in the country. Lead the country in steal percentage. Last I checked was leading the country in forced turnover percentage. So they've been fantastic there. So ball security for us, decision-making for us becomes critically important. And then offensively, one of the fastest playing teams in the country. I think they have the 6th fastest tempo in America. And then they're top 7 in the country in two-point percentage, so they've been really efficient around the rim. So there are a lot of areas, but those are a few that certainly stand out as important tomorrow.
Looks like they're crazy guard-oriented, I guess. What kind of matchups does that give you an advantage? But then on the defensive end, obviously, covering that.
Well, they're really old and experienced as a whole. But you look at their guards, multiple graduate transfers from winning programs. Jason Edwards is 3rd in the SEC in scoring, and he does it in only 23 minutes a game, which is really impressive. I think in their front court, they usually have a 4 out there who can really shoot the ball, which enables them to stretch the defense. So I think they present a lot of problems because of their firepower on the offensive end. And then defensively, they have great speed, quickness, and I think they're a really physical defensive team, which I think is one of the reasons they're averaging almost 11 steals a game, which has led to a lot of pick-6 type opportunities for them throughout the non-conference season.
Coach, is this team more similar to your team than some other teams you've played as far as like your bigs are similar to their bigs?
I don't know. McLaughlin at the Boston College transfer is, from an offensive rebounding standpoint, similar to Corey Chest. Both have great motors, both amongst the top 20 offensive rebounders in the country. He does stretch the floor. He's hit 9 threes, so low volume, but he's shooting it at 42%, which poses some problems because they'll have 5 guys out there at a time that can all shoot the 3. And then Carey, the big who came with him from James Madison, I think he's been really good at the 5, and there have been some times when they'll play him at the 5 and move McLaughlin down to the 4, which causes some problems as well.
So much of the talk nationally is about the improvement of the SEC, just as your squad has really improved themselves. What kind of challenges does this league present starting tomorrow, obviously, but throughout the remainder of this year, just how good they are?
Well, I think someone sent me a social media post from yesterday where the top 16 toughest schedules in the country remaining were the 16 SEC teams, which speaks to the depth of the league. I guess by the computer rankings, it's the strongest conference in the history of basketball at this point of the season. So there's obviously a lot of challenges in that, but also tremendous opportunity. I think as of today, 17 of our 18 league games are quad 1 opportunities, which gives you the chance to build a resume for the postseason if you're able to win those games. And I think if you're a competitor, this is what you want to be a part of. You've seen the SEC building toward this. 16 NCAA tournament berths over the last 2 seasons, most NBA draft picks of any league by a mile over the last 5 years. I think when you look at the NIL investment that's been made by the SEC, it all points to this historic season to this point.
Where would you rate your level of concern with the team's defensive rebounding going into conference play?
Well, I think we've talked about it a lot. We've made a lot of improvement there over the last month. Still a lot of room for growth, but you look at our 3-point percentage defense, our 2-point percentage defense are all top 20 in the country. Really all the defensive metrics have been very, very good for our team to this point. The one outlier is the defensive rebounding. And so we have to do that as a team. Corey Chest clearly rebounding at a high level. I think the reason for our improvement on the defensive glass is our guards have taken more pride in helping us on the defensive boards. We've had multiple games now where Victorious Miller, Jai Bailey are getting 5 defensive rebounds. Jordan Sears is a proven defensive rebounder at the point guard position. So we got to keep getting better there. It's certainly going to be a point of emphasis every night here, in such a physical league with the athleticism we'll see night in and night out.
What have you told the freshmen when it comes to the differences between playing non-conference and conference play, which is a bit more, I guess, scouting reports a little bit deeper? What have you told the freshmen when it comes to that?
I think we prepare the same way. We try to be very intentional in practice, with the physicality that we'll see in SEC play, the importance of every game, every possession. I know some of that stuff's cliche, but you've already seen it in leagues across the country. I mean, this is the best part of the year. We know for the next 9 to 10 weeks we're going to be playing the best teams in the country, and I think our freshmen are looking forward to that challenge.
Just how much do you feel like you have a handle on what this team is, and how much is still in front of you to kind of figure out?
Well, I think so from the standpoint I like our chemistry. I think we're a connected group. You're always wanting to improve that. I think we've identified areas that have been strengths for us throughout the non-conference portion of the schedule. And then we've hammered home the glaring areas that need to be improved. We talked about the defensive rebounding. Obviously, I'm concerned going into tomorrow, ball security, against a team that's the best in the country at forcing turnovers. We have to do a good job there. And then just consistency in our shooting. I think we've shown some nights that we can be an elite three-point shooting team. There have been some other nights we haven't shot it very well. We've been consistent from 2. I think we're still top 20 in the country there. But I still think we can be more consistent shooting from the perimeter.
Yeah. Now that football season is over, do you expect Trey'Dez Green to join the team?
Yeah, we'll meet with that. There's certainly an acclimation process that will go as he's been all football since he got on campus. But that was part of the plans for him as he came to LSU, is once football concludes, go through the acclimation process to the basketball program at that point. So we'll be meeting on all that next week and going from there.
Going back to Vanderbilt, their whole roster is listed at point guards. Have you ever seen that before?
No, never seen that before. But it has been a strength of their team that they have multiple playmakers on the floor. They don't turn it over very much. They force a bunch of turnovers on the other end, which is a winning formula. The freshman guard, I've never seen this before. 29 assists to 0 turnovers on the year. It's one of my favorite stats I've ever seen in coaching. I'm sure it's been done, but I've never seen it. So, but I do think that's one of the many strengths of their team. They've got versatile playmakers at every position.
You mentioned Jason Edwards. Is there going to be one specific defensive, assignment for him, or is it going to be multiple guards guarding him?
Well, I think you have to give him multiple looks. He's not a one-dimensional player by any means. He has a lightning quick release from 3, and he shot it at a high percentage. He also puts so much pressure on your defense with his quickness and speed. And then over his last 5 games, he's getting 8 free throw attempts a game. He does a really good job of getting in the paint and drawing contact. So you have to be really disciplined there. But clearly he's a key matchup with his ability to score in such a hurry.
What's an educated guess on when Trey'Dez might play? Like fourth game, fifth game? Can you-
I don't know at this point. We got to have those meetings and go from there. He said he needs a week. Yeah, we'll meet and go through. I do think it's really important, and I'm so excited for Trey-Dez. Obviously, incredible performance in the bowl game. But he, like I said, for some backdrop on, he's been all football the whole time. Our players know him because he's around, but he hasn't done anything basketball-wise. Conditioning, making sure his body gets the proper rest coming out of a long football season. We'll take into account all those things to make sure we do what's best for him.
Last year, Vanderbilt won 9 games, swept them last season. But when you turn on the film, they're already at 12 wins. Is it a night and day difference from last year to this year for the Vandy?
Well, a completely different team. Coach Byington comes in from James Madison, where I think they won 32 games last year. And then I thought they did a really good job in the portal of identifying experienced, talented winners who have come in and really flourished. They clearly made a financial investment in their program to make these things happen, and I think they're a really well-coached team. And you look at, they didn't just go pick up guys. They have Michigan State starting point guard from the last 3 years. So I'm assuming he was probably pretty well coached by Tom Izzo there throughout his time. They have guys from winning programs, and where I think Coach Byington should get a lot of credit. They've blended it all together, and 12-1 speaks for itself. They've been really good.
Hopefully this is the last Trey-Dez question. Obviously the guy needs some time off, right? But do you want to have him travel with the team, like even if he's not in a playing capacity or practicing capacity, just to kind of get that familiarity?
Yeah, I'm really not passing the buck. I thought it was really important for him to be all football. I just think it's impossible to split them during the season. So I think now that his football season is complete, it's more about the meetings and having the right plan of attack. I've told you before, I've never had one simultaneously play 2 sports. I've had one player, a 6'8", 250 player that played 4 years for us, and when his eligibility was up, he went and played football in his 5th year of college eligibility, but I've never had one do both at the same time. So I think it's just a matter of the meetings with the sports science people as well to get him into the best position to have success in both.
But you'd said that they don't, like, he's been around, but nobody really knows each other, like the chemistry aspect of a team.
Yeah, I think that's important. I think the guys eat in the same place there at the nutrition center. They have their academics at the same place at the Cox Communication Building. So I think that's been the interaction. It hasn't been, team meetings, film sessions, those type things.
And just, we love our football. So you saw what the league did this year, kind of cannibalizing itself, right? In basketball, it's a little different animal. Do you feel like it's more of just an iron sharpening iron kind of situation when the league is this good and you're going to be playing this many good teams?
Well, I think it's going to be very interesting. Some we're going to find out as we go, but to the point, kind of everyone has a baseline in the net rankings and the computer rankings as you enter league play. And now 17 of those 18 games are quad 1 opportunities, which we know is one of the most important metrics when the NCAA puts together the tournament field. So I think there are going to be a lot of 50-50 games throughout the league. And a lot of nights where whoever, not to simplify it, whoever plays the best for those 40 minutes that night is going to come out victorious. So, we'll see how it all impacts the computer numbers and what record in league play is good. What record in league play is good enough to get into the NCAA tournament. The last 2 years, the SEC's had an 8-10 team get in. And I would think with everyone's strength of their non-conference resumes, that would be the same again this year, if not more teams. I would think we're on pace for a record number of teams into the NCAA tournament.
Have you noticed extra level of excitement or even, nervousness? Obviously, SEC games are super important. Is there any different sort of feel from your players?
I don't think so. I think guys have practiced well. I think they clearly understand the importance of league games. But, you know, we talked about before the season, we needed to do a better job in the non-conference. You know, we won enough SEC games last year to continue on to the postseason, but we didn't handle business November, December. So I think our guys have worked with urgency and purpose throughout the non-conference. Like everyone, I wish we were 13-0, but we don't have any bad losses on our resume at this point. And now here we go. And you know, I think our guys have prepared well this week, and they have great respect for every team in the league, and they understand the significance and importance of every night out being ready to go. Yeah, I would just conclude with, you know, just two real quick things. Number one, on a lighter note, want to have a great home court advantage tomorrow. I think back to my first year here, our home opener versus number 9 Arkansas, and we had 12,000 people in here, and the PMAC gets loud. And so we want to have a great environment and want to invite everyone out to participate in creating that tomorrow afternoon at 3:30. And then obviously on a much more serious note, you know, our thoughts and prayers are with everyone in New Orleans on the terrorism tragedy earlier this week. You know, really hits home anywhere this happens, but when it's an hour down the road, when you have selfishly players in your program from that area, you know, your heart just breaks for everyone involved. So I want to send our thoughts and prayers to the great people in New Orleans and the great people of our state. Thank you.